it now. Okay, I've just started recording. That should be okay now. Very good. So what I'll do, I'll post the letters and a video link in Easy Class afterwards, so you can have a look at it there. You can read the corrections and see the video once again. Now, turn that off. Don't need that camera. Okay. Now, I've asked Dr. J to find me people who haven't been assessed yet. So we've got a few new people. We'll see how it goes. You might hear some background noise occasionally. We're doing some reconstruction work on the office next door. There's some workmen, so you might hear some banging and scraping and scratching, such as that. Yeah, we're doing some painting, they're refurbishing the office next door, so that's what that is. Anyway, so save the changes, get on with this. Dr. Rafi, I don't know who this is, no idea, they don't seem to be here in any case. So let's have a look at the task then. Urgent hospital admission, Mrs. Hong, let's have a look. Productive cough. Okay, tired, bronchi through chest, assessment bronchitis, stop smoking, cough, bad, yeah, worn out. Brought in by sun, bad night. So we can see there's a chronology is building up here. Things are getting worse. And the final thing, to hospital, urgent hospital admission. Okay. I'm writing to request your further assessment for Mrs. Hong. What does it say again? Urgent hospital admission. So, okay, well, you can say that. Further assessment. Now, okay, but again, you've got to be careful because further assessment usually means, you know, that they've assessed the person and you want them to assess them more or further, but they've not been assessed by them yet. And it says urgent admission. So we need to get this in the introduction, you know, the urgent part, urgent admission part. So I'm ready to request your further assessment for, well, and again, you know, it's assessment of, it's not assessment for. It's of, yeah. Further assessment of. There's a preposition. 43-year-old female. You can include that if you want. I mean, usually you would put the DOB there, but because it's not included in this, that's okay. If possible, well, it's pretty possible, and it's urgent. Now, you know, again, you've got to go to the task. What's it say? Urgent. So not, oh, you know, if you've got a spare bed, can you take it, please? If it's not too much trouble. Urgent, urgent. That's got to be there, right? And it's the admitting officer, right? So you spoke with the admitting officer, yeah? The further assessment and treatment, yeah? So you've got to say, you know, I mean, you could, you spoke with him, well, him, her, on the phone. So you could reference that. Dear Dr. Roberts, regarding our earlier telephone call, can you urgently admit Mrs. Hong? So you see, right, so using the standard letter format in this case would not work because you've already spoken to the doctor. It says here, spoke, speak, spoke, past tense. Yeah. So you've already spoke, so they know the situation. So if you go at this saying, I'm writing to refer Mrs. blah, 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 it ignores the fact that you've already spoken to this person and that they do have some, maybe it was a brief, brief call, and the letter is designed to give further information that you didn't have time for in the call, but you've got to look at it from that way. So you want advice. So you want him to urgently admit her. You want his or her, is it he or she? Doesn't say, it just says Dr. L. Well, it could be anybody. Advice, further assessment, and treatment. Request your further assistance, Mrs. Hong, and if possible to admit the case. Admit the case. You might just say admit her into your hospital. Now, does it say anything here about advice? Does it mention anything here about advice? Doesn't say anything here about advice. Does it mention anything about advice? The task says, you are asking for advice. So you're making a request, in other words, further assessment and treatment. So your further assessment of, okay, admit her, if possible. I wouldn't put that. I'd just say, and to admit her. And there's nothing about asking for advice here. So, okay. Now, I was talking about this in a session on Wednesday, I think it was. Was it on Wednesday, Monday or Wednesday? About not simply dropping in a sentence into a letter, right? We need a flow, a logical flow. Simply, here's a sentence drop with no introductory phrasing is not so good. So, the usual way is for you to say something like, for your information, please note regarding her social and medical history, etc. Some kind of phrase to introduce the paragraph. Okay, so I would always be tempted to, it's a bit of a memorized phrase, which I don't like, but it's an introductory one, and it does work here, Medical history, yeah, it's not kind of social as it you say regarding her medical history, or for your information, or please note, etc. Something such as that. Instead of just going, boom, Mrs. Hong is a smoker, without saying anything to introduce it, So, Mrs. Hong is a heavy smoker. She had rheumatic arthritis in childhood, which has resulted in mental regurgitation. Now, right. Now, I don't know how pertinent this is. Can somebody type me a note? Is this urgent? Is rheumatic carditis, is it pertinent to this case? Can somebody give me a clarification? Is it pertinent to this case? Rheumatic carditis. Yeah. Well, so respiratory problems such as pneumonia. So this is actually, it's pertinent. Okay, right, I'm good then. Okay, so let's get into the plot. Initially, on the 7th of September 2014, Mrs. Hong came with the complaints. Well, why would you put an article? You can either say with complaints of or complaining of. I think that is better. Make it a verb. Came, complaining of, or with complaints of a productive cough, along with a high grade, or is it just high? She prescribed what now? She prescribed antibiotics for herself? Don't think so. That's not a good mistake to make. She was prescribed. Why is it passive? Why don't you simply say I? I prescribed and advised her. But in any case, if you want to use this passive structure, you need a form of be. Am, is, was, were. And past participle verb number 3, that's how you make your passive. She was prescribed antibiotics and advised to cease her smoking. Please, will you cease your smoking? Nobody says that. Nobody says that. She was advised to stop smoking, advised to quit, yeah, but not cease. We don't usually use that word. And advised to stop her smoking or quit, as the diagnosis of acute bronchitis had made. Why is that passive? Right, now look, this is a good example of how not to use passive. It's overly complicated. The whole point of passive is meant to make it easier and concise, you know, but not everything works in passive, you know. So, I mean, you know, what's wrong with using an active sentence here? I prescribed her antibiotics and advised her to cease smoking, as the diagnosis of acute bronchitis had. Presumably, if that's passive, if you want to make it passive, you've got to add a form of be, had been made. So wouldn't you make the diagnosis first and then say what your prescription was? Because this is the wrong way around. You know, surely the logical way or sequence of events is she came in, you examined her, you diagnosed acute bronchitis, and then after that, you prescribed and advised, yeah? So this is the wrong way around. Don't need passive, and it's the wrong way around. After 2 days on a follow-up visit, her cough had increased. Well, all right. Now, either if you're using cough as a noun, as it is here, we wouldn't say her cough had increased. We might say her cough had worsened. It got worse. You could say her, if you wanted to make it a gerund, such as coughing, her coughing had increased, or her cough had worsened. Yeah. So I would be tempted to use one of those two. Coughing had increased. Her cough had worsened. Okay, so I would use one of those two. With thick yellow sputum in my chest, examination with an early sign of developing like basal pneumonia. Okay, the next day she brought. Again, I don't know if Dr. Raff is here, but you've got to be very careful. You're not making a passive in the correct way. You know, you're not making passive in the correct way. How you make passive? I'll put it here. You need be plus verb 3, past participle. Right. So if you're missing out be, am, is, was, were, been, being, etc., it's not passive. So you would be losing out here for your grammar score because it's not passive. Now, she was brought, or did her son accompany her, which is not the same thing. Let's have a look. Can't remember. What's it say? What's it say? Yeah, she was brought in. Okay, that's okay. Brought in by her son. She was brought. Now, going to make it passive because, you know, she's the object and her son's the subject. She was brought in by her son as her condition deteriorated. Now, wouldn't it be past a perfect? Had deteriorated. So Past perfect. And it's usually when we've got two completed past actions. Usually one is the simple past, which here is brought, you know. Bring, brought, yeah. And deteriorated. So to make this past perfect, we need to put had. Okay, so again, past perfect is when you've got two past actions and you want to show which one was completed first. So usually the past perfect action is the one farther back in time, okay? And the simple past is the one that's closest to us now, right? In the present. So her condition deteriorated, happened first, that is farther back, and she was brought in, the second past event. Yeah. Oh, someone's got a question. Do we need to write in chronological order? Well, again, it depends on what the task is. But I mean, why would you not write in chronological order? Why would you not? If you don't write in chronological order, it's going to be complete nonsense, isn't it? You know, I mean, you know, every letter is different, again, as I say. Some letters, the medical and social history needs to be in paragraph 2, because that sets the scene for the rest of the letter. Because again, you're presenting a narrative, you're telling a story, right? The reason for writing, I'm writing to refer, request, advise, blah, 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 that comes first. And then, you know, either the main medical issue, or if the history is important, that needs to be first, sets the scene. Then you need to have a chronological, well, you know, time and logical arrangement. So there's no point in mixing, of jumping, you know, she came, then she came before, now she's come again. You know, just keep it simple. 1, 2, 3, 4. She came, this happened, she came again, this happened, she's come now, I want you to do, etc. Keep it logical. Anyway, so past perfect. As a condition had deteriorated and she had developed dyspnea with right side chest pain on examination, fever and had or a loud murmur, because it's a singular noun, along with crackles over both lung field. Is it both lungs field? I don't know. A right lower done percussion FB. Further she did. Ooh, right. There's a lot of there's quite a lot of jargon in this one. Quite a lot. I don't know if we need to put all this in. Furthermore, she developed, which is can some right. Do we need all this? Can somebody give me some advice here? Now, you know, when the E2 and swoosh people assess writings, I mean, the OET, they have a template. They have, you know, because most of those examiners, they're not doctors, so they have a template, and they have to make sure that you include certain things. Now, I'm not sure here. Do we need to explain all of this? Because this paragraph is quite long. And I don't know if we need it all. What about this? Which is resistant but sensitive to, do we need that? Can somebody, the highlighted section, can somebody advise me? Do we need this or not? Yes or no? Come on. Can someone advise me? Do we need this? Which is resistant but sensitive? Yes. You sure? This highlighted section, we have to have it. Want the doctor know this? Wouldn't the doctor know this? Because it seems like you're explaining to a doctor what this is, and surely they would know, or they should know. Okay, then we'll keep it in. It's just this paragraph seems a little bit lengthy. I mean, if we look at the word count, 94 words. That's almost half of your total. So, okay, all right. If you would be now, right, why would it be highly appreciated? Why highly? Why exactly would it be highly appreciated? Why would you appreciate it at all? Is this doctor doing you a personal favor? Is he lending you money? Is he, is he doing you a personal favor? Well, no, he's not. So you don't need to highly appreciate it. The patient might, but you don't need to. And you need to mention, restate again the reason for writing. What do you want them to do? Exactly. Because the task says you want advice. And it doesn't say anything about asking for advice in this letter. It doesn't say anything about it. Could manage by admitting her in your hospital. Okay. Doesn't say anything about advice. Doesn't say anything. Okay, so it's not too bad, but it doesn't really include all the stuff, all the requirements of the task. And the main thing here basically is the grammar. It's not very accurate. There's lots of grammar mistakes here. Now, I don't know if Dr. F is here. He or she, are they here? Maybe not. But you can see they've made a lot of grammatical mistakes here, especially in terms of passive. Anyway, let's see what the next one is. Dr. Lapada. I thought you were a nurse. Is that Berna? Didn't you say in the group that you were or are a nurse? Do I remember that right? I thought so. Okay, but anyway, for the purpose of this letter. Now, Lerner, I've noticed, why do you keep, you're right, we don't use this, right? We don't respectfully refer, we don't respectfully request. No, there's no need. So I would try and avoid that. That's a bit too formal. So I would try to avoid using these adverbs. They're not so useful. So, referring Mrs. Hong, 43-year-old smoker. I don't know if you need to put that right there, that she's a smoker. I would have probably put that, like in the previous one, put regarding medical history, etc., and put it there, Now, you asked a question about the chronology. And so what you've done here, as of today, so the reader here doesn't really know what the sequence of events are. Right, okay. Who has been assessed of? Well, you don't assess of, you assess with. She has been assessed, having right level of which you need your further investigation. Well, you want her to be urgently admitted, and you want some advice. Acceptance, I can see that you've put it here, that's good. This should be in the introduction though. The first thing the reader needs is to, know what you want. What is it that you want me to do? They don't want to read right down to the bottom and say, oh, it's urgent. Shouldn't that be in the introduction, in the reason for writing? Can you urgently accept this patient? I need advice, etc. That's what I would put in the introduction anyway. So, which needs your further investigation. So I would put, you know, she's a smoker, like in the previous letter. Yeah, she's good. She's had this and this and this and this. Yeah. So I would have probably have put that there after that. Now, so why have you not gone through the history? Why have you jumped straight to today? So maybe the other people can make a comment here. Would you jump straight to the current visit, or would you write a chronology, a history? What would you do? If anybody wants to speak, I can turn your microphone on if anybody just wants to make any comments. Would you jump straight to the current visit, or would you write a history and finish with the current visit and then say, this is why? Is that what you would do? Anybody going to make any comments here? Yeah, write a history. Yeah. So the main issue needs to be, you know, included. Right. That should be paragraph 2 if it is the main issue. But as we've seen from the previous one, right? Let's have a look at this one again. Okay. So I'm writing to request you admit this patient, blah, 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 blah. Then the history could be in paragraph 2. She's a smoker. She had rheumatic carditis, etc. Okay, and then first she came in. I diagnosed and prescribed this. Then she came in again. It was getting worse. Now she's come in now, and as a consequence, I want you to take her in, and etc. Yeah. So that would be a more logical approach. Yeah. I mean, you could put the medical history at the bottom. You can move it farther down, but still, I wouldn't have today's admission in paragraph 2, because how, you know what I mean? How do we know the story that has led up to your current request? Yeah, so that's just something. All right. The patient was brought in by a son due to right-sided chest pain or a right-sided chest pain accompanied with a fever, difficulty breathing. Upon interview, the patient said, she wouldn't really state that. She would say, you know, I had quite a bad night, but she has had. Well, if it's if you're talking about today, you don't need the present perfect. You know, if it happened last night, it could be simple past. Yeah. So the patient said that she had quite a bad night the night before. Thorough examination was performed. The pulse or her pulse shows atrial fibrillation is not elevated, positive numbers allowed. On review, the patient's record revealed that she has a continuous episode of fever from which has been suspected. A series of the examination, what do you mean? A series of examinations was ordered together with, so again, you know, this doesn't really make a lot of sense, you know. So it's like she's come in, now you're talking about her record shows that she's had this and this. So yeah, this doesn't quite work. So I won't say anything more about this one. What I would do is take a look at the example letters. If you go into, oh, sorry, these bloody builders next door banging about. Anyway, so we've got lots of samples you can take a look at those. You can see the logical arrangement of information. Why is it beneficial to know? It's beneficial to whom? So I wouldn't use that kind of a phrase. You could say, please note, or for your information, etc. Okay. Now the last bit's good. Okay. And again, why do people keep using the same expression? Why is it highly appreciated? He's not doing you a favor. People keep using the same cliches. Try to avoid them. It's not original. Because it is a test of English, after all. It's an English test. Yeah. Okay, so we won't say anything further about that one. Dr. Rahman, I don't know, is he here? He, she, it, are they here, Dr. Rahman? No idea. Okay. Mei Hong, a 43-year-old what? If you have an article and you've got adjectives, you need a noun at the end. 43-year-old what? So to avoid that, just say aged 43 or 43. Highly valued. Well, why would it be highly valued? Again, you don't need to say this. You know, these people are medical professionals doing their job. You don't have to highly value, the patient might highly value their assistance, but why would you? You can say thank you, say please, and thank you, but there's no need for all this. Highly appreciated, highly valued, greatly appreciated. Just simply say, I would appreciate it if you could, thanks for doing this, etc. That would be fine. Yeah. Okay, so be careful here, right? Either age 43 or aged, but if you have a 43-year-old, then you need a noun at the end if you have an article, yeah? So that doesn't make sense. Thank you for your immediate response for, responding for, what response to this patient? Response for this patient? Immediate response doing what? Immediate response what? Responding how? What does that mean? Your further assessment would highly be appreciated. Well, firstly, you've got the adverb the wrong way round. And secondly, don't use these cliched phrases. Your further assessment would be highly appreciated. The task says urgent admission, advice, assessment, treatment. That's what it says. Immediate response doesn't tell, doesn't really say anything. Immediate response to what? No idea what you want me to do. Presumably you want me to assess this patient. Okay. Mrs. Hong, who is a smoker, came to my surgery with the complaints of why you don't need an article. You can say complaining of. I think with the complaints of productive cough, complaining of having a productive cough. Yeah. Complaints of a productive cough. And again, cough, it's a noun. Right? So you need an article or a pronoun. So complaints of a productive cough, of having, right. I would probably do it to make it more grammatically correct. Complaining of having a productive cough, accompanied by fever for the last 3 days. Right. I would have done it like that. I think you'll find that's a little better. Okay. So instead of the complaint solved for 3 days with a fever, because that's, you know, okay. Try it like that. She came complaining of having a productive cough accompanied by fever for the last 3 days. Okay. Examination, what? An examination, her examination, the examination? Pronoun or article in front of a noun. Examination, it's a noun. We need article or pronoun. Okay? Scattered bronchi throughout chest. Throughout what? Chest? Whose chest? Her chest, the chest. We need an article. Chest is a noun. It's a countable noun. Is it not? Along with a. Again, if it's singular, we need an article. Please note that she had been. So she had been, that means it's finished. Is she still suffering or not? Because had been means it's finished. Is it finished? It's finished then, yeah? So, had suffered. Why is it a continuous form? If it's finished, is it finished? No, what? Is it finished or not? Had been suffering. It's not finished. Right, so present perfect continuous, not past perfect then. Okay. So it's present perfect continuous. Okay. She has been suffering when there was a child. As I diagnose, why is this a present simple? Lots of grammar mistakes, lots of grammar. Why is it present simple? Diagnosed her with bronchitis. Advice is a noun, advise is a verb. So I advised her to stop smoking. Along with blah, 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 blah. Okay, after 2 days, there's no improvement despite having no improvement in what? No improvement in her cough. I presume so. Her cough was increased. Why is it passive? Her cough had worsened. You could say that. Her coughing increased or her cough had worsened. Either one of those, as I mentioned in the previous one. I'll type it out again though, just it worsened. Okay, either one of those. With ficular phlegm, examination revealed, an examination, the examination, her examination revealed, not crackles. A sputum sample article from microscopy were ordered. Microscopic culture injection. This is brought in by a son. She has had. Why is it present perfect? If she's come in today, she has. X-ray shows it's resistant to both situation and hospitalization. Now that's more like it. That's more like it. For your further assessment, advice, and treatment. That part's good. But I'm sorry, Doc, there's a lot of grammar issues here that you've got to sort out. Quite a few. So articles, use of passive, present perfect, past perfect. There's a few things here that needs to be worked on. Who's been drawing on the screen? Who's been drawing on the screen? Right. Get rid of that. Okay, let's see what we've got now. Dr. Salem, Dr. Salem. Is she here? Salem. Ah, Osama. Are you there, Osama? This looks, is this yours? Is this yours, Osama? Right? So, somebody's got a question. I'll turn your microphone on. If I can. Mama? Hello? I've turned your microphone on. Hello? Oh, maybe I don't want to talk after all. Okay, and so let's have a look. Writing to refer, Mrs Hong, 43 of these features for your further assessment and treatment. Okay, well, it's like urgent admission though. You know, urgent admission. Okay, Mrs Hong is a smoker. Again, why would you just drop in a sentence? Mrs Hong is a smoker. And so you need some introductory phrase. As Joseph says here in a chat box, as I just said, you know, there's no sense of urgency here. Oh, hello, doc. I'm writing to refer this patient. You know, she needs a bit of assessment. I thought it's urgent. Is it not? So I'm writing to request your urgent admission of, I'm writing to request that you admit Mrs. Hong for assessment. Your advice would be appreciated also, you know? That's what the task says. So if you're using these, you know, standard template kind of sentences, it doesn't really, you know, it doesn't really fulfill all the requirements of a task, you know? This is why I keep saying, every session, go to the task. What's it ask you? What's it tell you? Urgent, urgent. I want advice also. Can you urgently can you admit this patient? It's urgent and I need some advice. That's what you've got to say. Okay, so why do we have this here? So I would put something like, in terms of a social and medical history, and then put, she's had this and this, please note she's also a smoker, etc. Yeah. So I would probably move this. I'd probably put this somewhere here. Yeah. So you've got this here. In terms of the social and medical history, she's had this. Blah 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 blah. Please note, Mrs. Hong is a smoker, etc., etc. Okay, so it's all grouped in a paragraph and it's got a logic to it. So, you know, urgency. Let me put the changes back on. Okay, so that's done, that's good. Okay, over the last three days, what is this? So over the last 3 days, Mrs. Hong has complained of a deteriorated chest condition. Okay, initially on the 7th, she presented smoking. Okay, 2 days later, despite a condition, on today's review. So, dear, over the last 3 days, let's have a look. So she came in on the 7th, on the 9th, and today's the 10th. Okay. But still, I would have just put, you know, again, to make things clear, put the initial presentation. She came back, this happened, she's come again. I want you to do this. Okay. Oh, so to avoid confusion, I just start with initially, first visit, this happened, then this happened. She's come now, and I want you to do this. Okay. Cancelling cessation. That communication condition was her condition was deteriorating. Why would you use past continuous there? Why would you use that? Why would you use a continuous form? Her continuation had deteriorated, or was worsening, or had worsened. But I wouldn't use past continuous there. Just auscultation revealed crackers right. Long further investigations were requested. Requested by whom? What investigations? I mean, you ordered some tests because you're doing the investigation. So who's requesting what? On today's review, a significant worsening was noted. You mean her condition had worsened? So significant worsening of what in her condition? It's a bit of a long-winded way of saying, you know, on today's review, her condition was worse or had become worse. That is better. She reported the right side of chest pain, clinical assessment. You could have mentioned her son brought it in. Now, why that might be interesting is it implies that she was not well enough to come in on her own. Right? The fact that she had to have help to come into the surgery adds further weight to your request for urgent admission. Yeah? So, you know, everything that you include here has to have a relevance, a pertinence. So I would have included something about her son because, oh, today she was so bad, she had to be brought in by her son. You know what I mean? So that adds weight to what you are requesting. Clinical assessment for based on the above, Mrs. Hong's condition may require an inpatient treatment. Well, that's not the same as, you know, can you admit her urgently? It's not quite the same, is it? You know, the task, you know, does say urgent. It doesn't say, well, you know, she may need to come in. You're saying she definitely needs it. Can you admit her? And you called her, sorry, you called the doctor and, you know, first. And this, a letter, which nobody seems to have mentioned. You know, I mean, it says in my notes, right, that you spoke to the person you are writing to, right? Urgent hospital admission, you spoke to Dr. Roberts and you organized an ambulance. Nobody's mentioned this. No one so far has mentioned this, you know? So you would at least make a reference in the letter regarding our telephone conversation. This is to further give you further information about Mrs. Hong. Can you please, you know? But nobody has mentioned it. Okay. So let's get back to this one then. Brought in by us. Where are we now? Oh yeah. Right. May require. She may require. Well, you've ordered an ambulance, so you know your further management would be appreciated. Okay. Let's see. We've got one. I don't know if this is the last one. I don't have too much time today. Dr. Ahmed. So there's a couple. Well, I haven't got time. I've got to go. I've got somebody coming at 10 o'clock. So I'll leave these for now. So somebody's got their hand up. I'll turn your microphone on. If you want to, did you have a question? because you had you had your hand up before, and I turned your microphone on, but all I could hear was sounds of children or something. Have you got a question? No, so I'll take that down. Dr. Salem says, is word count essential? No, it isn't, no. I know it says recommended 180 to 200, but seminar after seminar has been clear in that the word count is only important if it's ridiculously short or ridiculously long. If it's, you know, if it's really, really short or really, really over long, that's a problem. Apart from that, I don't think anybody cares. So, you know, it's just, if it's too long, there's a possibility that you might include too much information, you know, because not every detail is pertinent. I saw some letters several weeks ago that somebody sent, and they were over 300 words. That's far too long. They're basically including everything, you know, every single detail, which is not. Is organization, you mean, does the organization, the layout affect your grade? Yes, it does. The criteria, let me get the criteria and I'll show you, right? Let me just get this out. I'll put it on the screen and I'll show you exactly what it means. Let me, okay, hang on. Where's the screen share? Okay, can you see this now? Yeah. So, your question: does the organization, does the layout affect your grade? Yes, it does. If we see here, get my pen. Presentation features, punctuation, and a layout. In other words, the organization, the logical organization. So the layout must be appropriate. Now, in terms of the words count, yeah, doesn't make a lot of difference, but if it's too long or too short, far too long, far too short, yeah. So 180 to 200, it doesn't matter. Most letters are about 220, 40, 250. As long as you're not including irrelevance, you know, as long as you're not including stuff that's not important or pertinent. I mean, one of the criteria is that you select all relevant material. You completely understand the task instructions, right? So that's why everybody will tell you, whether it's me, E2, Swoosh, whoever, you go to the task first, right? Go to the task first. What does it tell you? Exactly, and make sure that that's what you include. So again, you know, this comes under the comprehension of stimulus, right? If you miss out something or you put something that's not quite, you know, but if you include too much, that's your word count. Too much irrelevancy, stuff that you don't need, that is going to pull it down. I mean, it says so here, you know, it says so. You've got to be careful. What do you include? What do you exclude? Yeah. I mean, here's the criteria. Yeah, so you have to produce writing that reads without strain. In other words, there must be a logical flow. This leads to this, leads to this, leads to this. You know, it's got to have a logic. This. Yeah, logically organized. That's what you've got to do. Okay. So, anybody got any other questions about anything else? Anybody got any questions about anything? Yeah. If you've got a question, you could ask it. I can turn your microphone on, or you can just can type your question. Doesn't matter. Upper respiratory tract infection, yeah. What about it? If it is singular, yes, because it's a noun. Well, it's a noun phrase. Infection, it's a noun. So if you're talking about a singular infection, then yes, I would put an article. An upper respiratory tract infection. Yeah, that's what I would do. So, anybody else? I'm just going to save these letter corrections. I think there's only, there's only 4. I think 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, there's only 4 for today. I'll save these and I'll put them in easy class. If you are subscribers, you can go and access those. And I'll put the video there too. Just save these. Okay. We have another question. A possibility. Well, a possibility means it's singular, possibly the, because it's a particular, a specific possibility. So I would use a definite article there. Okay, so I'm going to be in Telegram for a while. If you've got any comments or questions, okay, I'm going to stop the recording and I'll stop this meeting. So I'll be in Telegram for a while now. Okay.